Have you ever wondered, really stopped to think, what fundamental principles define a life of profound meaning? According to ancient wisdom. Today we're taking a deep dive into something pretty remarkable. The Book of Sixes.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just some dusty old text. It's a key part of the Aṅguttara Nikāya, that huge collection of the Buddha's discourses.
Right, the one organized by numbers. And this section, the Chakkanipāta, groups teachings into these incredibly insightful sets of 6.
Exactly, sets of 6.
And these discourses, the suttas, they offer these really practical frameworks, ways to understand spiritual development, human nature, just navigating our inner and outer worlds, really.
Yeah, that's it. So our mission here in this deep dive is to pull out the most potent nuggets from these sources.
Like a shortcut.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
A shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about core Buddhist teachings. We're going to uncover some surprising definitions of what it means to be worthy.
Definitely surprising.
Explore some really effective ways to cultivate the mind. And, well, reveal some profound insights into what makes us tick, our motivations. The goal is to help you grasp these concepts quickly, thoroughly, and maybe have a few of those aha moments.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's get into it. Let's unpack what it truly means to be considered worthy in this tradition. Because, like you said, it's way more nuanced and, frankly, maybe more liberating than you might expect.
Well, what's really fascinating right from the start is the foundational definition. It's from the Patāmahuniya Sutta.
Okay.
And it describes a monastic who, when they encounter anything through their senses, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, even just thoughts, they're neither pleased nor displeased. They just remain impartial, mindful, clearly comprehending.
Wow. Just stable.
Exactly. That equanimity, that stable, non-reactive mind that's presented as the baseline of worthiness.
That's pretty countercultural, isn't it? We usually think worthiness is about what you do or have.
Totally. It flips the script. True value isn't external achievement. It's this internal mastery over your reactions. It's a genuinely liberating idea, maybe even radical.
And it gets even more intriguing, right?
Yeah.
The sources then expand on other ways a monastic can be worthy. It's not just about that calm baseline, profound as that is. So what else makes someone worthy?
Right. So the Āhuneyyavaggo, the next one, it gets into what might seem like, well, extraordinary attainments.
Like superpowers?
Sort of what people might label psychic powers, yeah. Walking through walls, diving into the earth, hearing distant sounds, reading minds, remembering past lives, that kind of thing.
Okay, that sounds pretty out there.
It does, but crucially, the text emphasizes that the ultimate attainment, the thing that really defines this worthiness, is the extinction of mental taints.
Mental taints, what are those?
Think of them as like pollutants of the mind. Greed, hatred, delusion, the sticky stuff. Their complete extinction leads to the liberation of mind, liberation of wisdom, experienced right here, right now.
Ah, I see. So the powers aren't the point.
Not the main point, no. They might arise. But the real goal is that inner cleansing, that radical freedom from greed, hatred, and delusion. That surpasses any flashy display.
So it's an internal freedom from those defilements. That's the real measure. And it's something potentially accessible, not just for, miracle workers.
Precisely. And other texts, the Indriya Sutta and Bala Sutta, clarify this further. They talk about 5 qualities: faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom.
Okay, those sound more familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
When these are developed as faculties, meaning they're strong and well-established, and as powers, meaning they're unshakable, they lead to the very same result: the extinction of those taints and ultimate liberation. These 5 work together. Faith gets you started, effort keeps you going, mindfulness keeps you present, concentration steadies the mind, and wisdom, well, wisdom cuts through the confusion. It's a synergy towards freedom.
I really like that noble steed analogy you mentioned from the Paramount Sutta. A king's horse is valued for looks, strength, speed.
Right.
But the Buddha says a truly worthy monastic is defined by their endurance. That feels different, a different kind of strength.
It absolutely is. This endurance, kamo, in Pali, isn't passive. It's not just gritting your teeth. It's an active patience, a tolerance.
Tolerance for what?
For everything, really. All the sensory input sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches. And importantly for mental stuff too. Thoughts, feelings, impulses.
Ah, so not getting thrown off by your own mind.
Exactly. The ability to endure, to face discomfort or difficult thoughts or provocations without being swept away, without reacting impulsively. That capacity is presented as absolutely key to freedom. It's the strength of being unshaken, inner worthiness.
Okay, so we've looked at this inner landscape, worthiness, freedom, endurance. But how does this translate outwards? How do you build a harmonious community? Because that's also vital, right? These texts don't just focus inward.
Not at all. The Suryasa Suttas tackle this directly. They outline 6 specific actions, things you do that foster affection and respect among spiritual companions.
Like what?
Okay, first, practicing loving kindness. Not just thinking nice thoughts, but expressing it through your body, your speech, and your mind. Openly, and even in private. Genuine goodwill.
Okay.
Second, sharing what you have. Any legitimate gains, even small things. It builds generosity, cuts down on possessiveness.
Makes sense.
Third, maintaining a shared standard of virtue. Everyone agrees on the ethical code and holds to it. That builds trust.
Right.
And finally, holding a common right view, a shared understanding of the path that actually leads to the end of suffering. This shared foundation, intellectually and spiritually, creates real unity.
So this isn't just about, being polite or getting along superficially.
No, it's much deeper. It's about building a collective container, a shared path towards liberation, real connection.
And you mentioned an escape sutta. That sounds intriguing, like antidotes for bad mental states.
Exactly that. The Nisaranya Sutta is incredibly insightful. It gives direct counters. For instance, you cultivate loving kindness, that's the escape from ill will. Cultivate compassion, that's the escape from vexation or cruelty. Sympathetic joy, being happy for others, that escapes discontent and envy.
Practical.
Very. Equanimity escapes lust or strong desire. Then there's something profound called the signless liberation of mind.
Signless.
Yeah, think about how our minds constantly grab onto appearances, labels, concepts, signs. Good, bad, mine, yours. Signless liberation escapes being bound by all those mental constructs. It's a deep release from conceptual attachment.
Wow. Okay.
And finally, uprooting the I am conceit, that deep sense of a fixed self that's the escape from doubt and confusion. This direct link, this wholesome quality overcomes that unwholesome one. It's powerful, practical wisdom.
It really is. But it makes you wonder, if those are the escapes, what are the traps? What should we be watching out for?
Good question. The texts are clear on the pitfalls, too. The Samagamika Sutta and Seika Sutta talk about the qualities of decline.
Decline, like falling off the path.
Pretty much. A deity points out 3 things for monastics. Delighting in activity, just being busy for its own sake. Delighting in chatter, and delighting in sleep.
Okay. Distractions.
Right. And the Buddha adds 3 more. Delighting in company, just hanging out, disobedience, not following the training, and bad company, associating with people who pull you down. These are seen as things that really hinder progress, drain your energy away from cultivation.
And for trainees?
For trainees or Seka, 2 more are highlighted. Unguarded senses, basically, not being mindful of what comes in through sight, sound, etc., and eating too much, immoderation in food. These can easily derail practice.
So if those are the traps, how do you avoid them? What keeps you on track, prevents that decline?
Well, logically, the Āhuneyyavaggo Sutta gives us the opposites, the qualities of non-decline.
Which are?
Simply not delighting in those 6 things: activity, chatter, sleep, company, disobedience, bad friends. And instead, actively cultivating obedience, seeking good company, guarding the senses, and being moderate with food. It's about conserving energy and directing it wisely.
What really jumps out at me there is the emphasis on respect.
Yeah.
It feels like more than just individual actions. It's about fundamental attitudes.
Absolutely. That's crucial. The Pahama and Dutiya Aparayana Suttas detail 6 kinds of respect that are vital for non-decline.
6 kinds.
Yes. Respect for the teacher, the Buddha. Respect for the Dhamma, the teachings. Respect for the Saṅgha, the community. Respect for the training itself, the precepts and practices. Respect for diligence, for making the effort. And respect for cordiality and conscience, basically, having a sense of shame and dread about doing wrong.
So these aren't just manners.
Not at all. They're deep attitudes that create a strong framework, internally and externally, to keep the practice alive and prevent slipping backwards.
Yeah.
Continuous growth needs this structure.
And there's a kind of universal wisdom here too, right? You mentioned the Kusala Sutta.
Yes, that's a great example. It points out that even secular leaders, kings, generals, village chiefs, if they just indulge in comfort, too much sleep, sensual pleasures, they aren't effective, they aren't beloved or successful. It shows that disciplined conduct, self-restraint, mindful effort, these aren't just for monks. They're vital for any meaningful undertaking. a really practical lesson in leadership and just getting things done spiritually or otherwise.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. Let's dive into the practices themselves, the ones that cultivate that deep insight and lead towards liberation. How do these texts guide us there?
There's a really powerful metaphor in the Himavanta Sutta. It says, focused mind cultivation can shatter a mountain of ignorance.
Shatter a mountain? Wow.
Yeah, it's not just talk. It refers to mastering 6 specific skills related to concentration.
6 skills.
Skill in entering concentration, skill in maintaining it, skill in emerging from it, skill in its aptness, using it appropriately, skill in its range, how widely you can apply it, and skill in applying it for insight. Think of it like honing a tool until it's incredibly precise and powerful.
Like a laser beam for the mind.
Exactly. It shows the immense power of a well-trained, focused mind to cut through delusion and see reality clearly.
What about something like mindfulness of death? It sounds kind of morbid maybe, but it seems important in these teachings. Are we doing it right?
That's a really important point. The Maranasati Suttas actually contrast 2 ways of doing it. Some people might reflect, okay, I could die within a day or a night, or maybe by lunchtime.
Right. That seems reasonable.
But the Buddha calls that approach negligent.
Negligent. Why?
Because the diligent practice, the recommended one, is much more intense. It involves recognizing that death could come literally in the span of a single breath, or while chewing a single mouthful of food.
Wow. That's immediate.
It is, and that intense awareness is meant to prompt urgent effort right now to abandon unwholesome qualities, greed, anger, confusion. The text likens it to having your hair or clothes on fire.
You wouldn't wait.
Exactly. You act immediately. So you constantly check in. Are there unwholesome states present? If yes, exert maximum effort to get rid of them. If no, dwell in joy, but keep training. Keep cultivating wholesome states day and night. It's a continuous, rigorous self-awareness.
That's a powerful call to urgency. How does this connect to those 6 recollections we hear about? Buddha, Dhamma, Saṅgha.
Right, the Anussatiṭṭhāna, Sutta, and Mahakaccana Sutta bring those back. Recollecting the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Saṅgha, your own virtue, your generosity, and the devas or divine beings.
What's the benefit?
The texts say cultivating these frees the mind. Specifically, it frees the mind from lust, ill will, and delusion. It makes the mind straight, released, emerged from greed. And greed here is defined very practically as the pull of the 5 senses, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches.
So it helps break those attachments.
Precisely. And Mahakaccana adds that these practices make the mind vast, like space, exalted, immeasurable, free from ill will. It's about expanding your inner perspective beyond petty concerns.
Okay, but what if you get stuck? You hit a wall in your practice. When is it actually the right time to go ask for help, instead of just trying to tough it out?
That's where the Panamasamaya and Dutiyasamaya suttas come in. They're very practical about the occasions for visiting a mind-cultivating bhikkhu, basically, a skilled teacher or practitioner.
So when should you go?
The texts say the right time is when you're really afflicted by one of the major hindrances. Sensual desire, ill will, sloth, and torpor, that heavy laziness, restlessness, and remorse, anxiety and guilt or doubt.
The big 5 hindrances.
Exactly. Also, crucially, when you don't know the specific sign or mental object or technique that leads to the destruction of those deeper mental taints we talked about earlier.
So when you're lost on the path itself.
Right. It highlights the value of seeking guidance precisely when you're facing these internal blocks, not just waiting until you're completely overwhelmed or confused. Get help when you hit the obstacle.
That makes sense. Now, what about some of the deeper body and mind contemplations, the ones that are said to lead directly to liberation?
The Uddaya Sutta, as taught by Ananda and confirmed by the Buddha, outlines several really potent ones.
Such as?
While cultivating the jhanas, the deep meditative absorptions, these bring present happiness, a taste of peace, and strengthen concentration.
Okay.
Developing the perception of light, this is said to lead to clear knowledge and vision, dispelling mental fogginess.
It's interesting.
Then there are the body contemplations. Contemplating the 32 parts of the body, hair, skin, nails, bones, organs, fluids.
Why do that?
Primarily to overcome sensual desire. When you see the body broken down into its components, it tends to lose its allure as an object of lust. It shifts your perspective.
I could see that.
Then there's contemplating a corpse in various stages of decay.
That sounds intense.
It is. Bloated, being eaten, just bones, scattered bones. The specific purpose mentioned here is to uproot the I am conceit. Seeing the body's inevitable decay helps dismantle that deep-seated feeling of a solid, permanent self.
Undermining the ego.
Exactly. Also mentioned is attaining the fourth jhana as a basis for penetrating different aspects of reality. And finally, the Buddha's own addition, which is perhaps the most fundamental and accessible.
What's that?
Maintaining mindfulness and clear comprehension in absolutely everything you do. Walking, standing, sitting, lying down, working, eating, talking. Being fully present, fully aware in every single moment. That itself is a profound practice.
That brings us to how these texts redefine things we think we understand, like greatness. There's a shift away from the external, isn't there?
A huge shift. Take the Nāga Sutta. Nāga often means like a great being, maybe a powerful elephant, a king cobra, sometimes even a great tree.
Right, something impressive.
But the Buddha redefines a true Nāga. He says, a true Nāga is someone who commits no wrong by body, speech, or mind anywhere in the world.
Wow, so perfect harmlessness.
And more. This true Nāga is self-controlled, calm, free from all fetters or bonds, unsoiled by the world like a lotus rising clean from muddy water, and ultimately they attain nibbana, extinguishing like a fire that runs out of fuel.
So greatness is inner purity and liberation.
Exactly. Their qualities are listed. Patience, non-harming, austerity, pure conduct, faith, equanimity, mindfulness, wisdom, inquiry, detachment. It's a total inversion of worldly power dynamics. Inner purity is the real greatness.
And this connects to that story about judging others, right? The Migasala story. It seems like a warning against assuming we know what's going on inside someone else.
It really is. Migasala was confused. Her father was a strict ascetic. Her uncle lived a life of sensual pleasure, yet the Buddha said both attained the same level of liberation after death. How could that be?
Yeah.
The Buddha basically said, look, judging people based on their outer lifestyle is foolish. Only a fully enlightened being, or someone close, can truly see the inner spiritual state. External paths might look wildly different, but if the underlying Dhamma stream is carrying them forward, they can reach the same destination.
So don't judge a book by its cover, spiritually speaking.
Pretty much. Avoid superficial judgments about who's making progress and who isn't based on how they live externally. You just can't know.
What about understanding karma in a really practical way? Is there an analogy for that?
Oh, the spiritual debt analogy in the Ida Sutta is brilliant for this. It's so vivid.
Spiritual debt.
Yeah. It says lacking the core virtues, faith, shame, dread of wrongdoing, energy, wisdom, that's spiritual poverty, like having no assets.
Okay.
Then committing bad actions, harming others, lying, stealing, etc. with body, speech, or mind, that's like taking out a loan. You're incurring debt.
Right.
Trying to hide those actions, covering them up, that's the interest piling up.
Oh.
Getting criticized by your wise friends or spiritual companions, that's like the debt collector showing up, reminding you of what you owe.
Okay, this is getting uncomfortable.
It gets worse. Being tormented by remorse when you're alone, those guilty thoughts, that's like the creditors pursuing you relentlessly. And finally, rebirth in difficult states, like hell realms or as an animal, that's compared directly to being thrown in prison for your debts.
Wow, that is direct.
It is. But the flip side is also there. Possessing those virtues, faith, shame, dread, energy, wisdom, that's spiritual wealth. It leads to freedom, liberation from this cycle of debt and consequence. It makes karma feel very tangible, like a real balance sheet.
It really does. Shifting back to community harmony, you mentioned the challenge of different types of practitioners judging each other.
Yes, the Mahakunda Sutta tackles this head-on. The Buddha saw friction between the Dhamma practitioners, those who focused on studying and understanding the teachings, and the meditators, those who focused on deep states of concentration.
The thinkers versus the feelers, maybe?
Kind of, yeah. And they were apparently criticizing each other. The Buddha warned that this mutual disparagement, this putting each other down, was harmful to everyone.
So what was the solution?
He said they should praise each other instead. Recognize that both types are rare and valuable. Some practitioners directly touch the deathless element with their bodies through deep meditation. Others penetrate profound meaning with wisdom through study and reflection. Both are valid paths. Both contribute. It's a call for mutual respect, recognizing diverse strengths.
That seems very relevant today, too. What about knowing for yourself if this stuff is real, not just taking it on faith?
That's the whole idea of the Dhamma being sandithika, directly visible. The Sandihika Suttas explain this clearly.
How does it work?
The Buddha says it means you can know directly for yourself right now whether greed is present in your mind or absent, whether hatred is present or absent, whether delusion is present or absent.
So you just look inside.
You look inside honestly. It's an empirical path. You don't need to just believe it. You can verify it through your own direct experience. See for yourself if the practices reduce greed, hatred, and delusion in your own mind. That's the proof.
And what does that ultimate liberation, that freedom, actually feel like inside? If the ego is gone, what's the perspective?
The Kima Sutta gives a fascinating glimpse. It says a fully liberated person, an arahant, simply doesn't engage in comparison anymore.
No comparison at all.
None. They don't think, I am superior to them, or I am equal to them, or I am inferior to them. That whole framework of self versus other based on comparison has just dissolved.
That sounds incredibly peaceful.
It signifies a complete transcendence of the ego's constant need to measure itself against others. Just profound, unshakable peace, free from striving and judgment.
It's also clear that these aren't just like a random collection of techniques. They all fit together, don't they?
Absolutely. They form a system. The Indriyasavara Sutta shows this beautifully with the sense restraint chain.
Sense restraint, like guarding your eyes and ears.
Exactly. Being mindful of what comes in through all six senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and mind. That mindfulness is presented as the absolute foundation.
Why is it so fundamental?
Because the text says, without sense restraint, your ethical conduct, your morality, gets shaky. If morality is lost, you can't develop right concentration. Without concentration, you can't gain true knowledge and vision of reality. Without that, you don't develop dispassion. And without dispassion, you can't attain the final knowledge of liberation.
So like a chain reaction.
Precisely, like a tree. If the roots and trunk aren't healthy, the branches and leaves can't flourish. But if you establish sense restraint, then morality, concentration, wisdom, dispassion, and liberation can all grow strong, supporting each other. Establish the first step, and the rest can follow.
That makes sense. Now, for people listening who are really trying to learn this stuff, to really internalize it, how do you actually master the Dhamma? Not just read about it.
Ananda, who is famous for remembering everything the Buddha taught, gives 6 key ways in the Ananda Sutta. These are really about deep learning and integration.
Okay, what are they?
First, you have to study thoroughly. Know the different categories of teachings. Second, teach it to others. Explaining it helps you understand it better yourself.
Good advice.
Third, recite it. Get it into your memory banks. Fourth, contemplate it deeply. Really reflect on the meaning in your own mind. Let it sink in.
So thinking about it.
Yes, but more than just intellectualizing. Letting it permeate your understanding. Fifth, spend time with experienced practitioners, senior monastics, or teachers. Immerse yourself in the living practice.
I learned from example.
Right. And sixth, and this is crucial, regularly go to those experienced people and ask questions. Seek clarification. Get them to explain the tricky parts, reveal what's hidden, clear up your doubts. This active engagement, especially with wise guides, is absolutely key to true, deep understanding. It's not passive learning.
That's really helpful. To kind of round out this picture of human nature, the texts even seem to analyze different societal groups and their motivations, almost like ancient sociology.
It's quite remarkable. The Khattiya Sutta, the aims of various groups text, does exactly that.
What groups does it cover?
Warriors, Brahmins, the priestly class, householders, women, thieves.
Thieves.
Yes. And monastics, of course. For each group, the Buddha outlines their typical aims, what they think about, what their foundations are, what they're fixated on, and what their ultimate end or goal tends to be.
So what are some examples?
Well, for warriors, the aim is sovereignty, power. For householders, it might be wealth and family. For thieves, maybe getting away with it. And for monastics, the ultimate end is nibbana. It shows this incredibly deep, nuanced understanding of human motivations across the whole spectrum of society. Everyone has their driving forces.
That is comprehensive. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, journeying through these 6s. What's the big takeaway? If there's one principle that kind of holds all this together, aiming for a successful life, whatever that means to you, what would it be?
If you had to pick one thread that runs through so much of this, connecting back to the bigger picture, it would have to be diligence. Appamāda in Pali.
Diligence, like just trying hard.
It's more than just effort. It's non-negligence, heedfulness, constant mindfulness in practice. The Appamāda Sutta says this one quality encompasses benefits both in this life and the next. It's presented as supreme.
How so?
The Buddha uses these amazing analogies. Diligence is like an elephant's footprint all the smaller animal footprints fit inside it. It's like the ridgepole of a roof. It holds all the rafters together. It's like the stem of a mango bunch. If you cut the stem, the whole bunch falls. It's like a great king ruling over lesser kings, or the moonlight outshining all the stars.
So it underlies everything else.
Exactly. Diligence, that constant, mindful, non-neglectful effort, is the foundation upon which all other wholesome qualities, all virtue, all success on the path can actually arise and be sustained. It's the essential ingredient.
So after all that, what does this mean for you listening right now, navigating your own life?
Yeah, maybe take a moment to reflect. How do these ancient lists, these sets of 6, how do they stack up against your own modern ideas about a good life or a successful one? Think about the emphasis here on inner states, self-restraint, equanimity, even the destruction of taints. How does that contrast, or maybe how does it complement our usual contemporary values? Things like outward achievement, getting more stuff, chasing fleeting pleasures.
What parts of these 6s really clicked for you? Maybe it was that idea of worthiness being about inner endurance, or the practical escapes from things like anger or worry, or perhaps that intense, urgent call to be mindful of life's fragility. Consider how these ancient insights, framed in these lists of 6, might offer you some new pathways to foster deeper understanding, maybe more resilience, more well-being in your own life, helping you move beyond just the surface level towards something genuinely liberating.